Have you got any advice on what that developer could suggest or talk about to the manager who's perhaps a little less comfortable with adding more development man days to test code?
So I think it's in general terms, like when you're discussing these things with non-technical managers, keep away from talking about code too much. Don't talk about code,
right?
Because that's not what they want to talk about.
No.
Often what it is taking your understanding of the problem in a code sense and turning it into a language that they understand.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And two of the topics that are often good if you want to get good reaction is obviously talk about money and finance and talk about reputation. Okay. And in terms of code quality and testing, obviously poor code, it has financial costs. And obviously it can have reputational costs if it's not secure or some major bug causes a major hiccup and takes it offline for a day or so. So it's often, if you talk about things like that, the topics of finance, the money and reputation and things like that, that will get more attention than rather going into the nuances of code design and things and, encapsulation or anything else like that. That's not going to grab them. I think, So, because the key back to your core question is sort of like, what is the financial justification for doing more work up front than, just trying to release it as soon as possible. And I have this sort of concept in my head that I've been playing with for a while, which is this sort of law of minimum cost, right? That basically every software development task has a minimum cost associated with it, and you can't get below that minimum cost. The only thing you can decide on is when you're going to pay for it. So are you going to pay for it now or are you going to pay for it later? So the justification testing financially is that you get as much of the cost prior to production release as possible, right?
Okay, yeah,
because
yeah.
If you don't do testing or you don't do testing well and then you release code, you're going to have a whole bunch of issues to fix later. And that's where your costs will begin to spiral, and they spiral in a couple of ways. One is that you have to obviously start fixing bugs.
Right.
So your developers lose focus maybe on releasing the next big feature. They're focused on like fixing bugs now. So their efficiency goes down.
Right.
They're most likely dealing with a lower code quality.
Yeah.
So again, it takes them longer to do things. And there's that cost. And then you get all these side effect costs, right? So all these side effect costs are like when you start putting bad code into production. Say, for instance, your tool is for an internal part of your company. So other people within your company need this software to produce something that goes online and yada yada. Now, if that is of a poor quality and has been poorly designed and is inefficient, that's going to cause costs to rise in their team. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The problem often is those costs are untracked because businesses aren't making the financial connection between this inefficient team over here.
That is so true. Yeah.
And then you've got the user issue. So if your site is very focused or application is very user centric, like as in has lots of users using it, and Google have done loads of research on this to prove this is the case in terms of like site performance and speed.
Yeah.
Like if you've got a buggy system and like there are bugs hidden there, guaranteed if you've got enough users, they will start finding those bugs, and you could be losing 10 or 5% of revenue because users just have this buggy experience and drop out before conversion, before they hand some money over, they spend less time on your site because it's all those things. And I think when you have that sort of conversation with someone who's non-technical, like a product owner maybe, or someone in the finance department or various other places, they get that. They start to understand what you're saying to them. They go, okay, so what you're saying to me is if we do testing, it might cost us a bit more upfront, but it will keep our long-term costs down. And that's the financial argument there. There's also the reputational thing that, bugs can be very damaging to your reputation. We've all seen things with Apple and Facebook and various other companies that are